Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Motivational Moments with Maria. I'm your host, Crazy Coach Maria, here again, still thrilled, still excited that you're listening in. I appreciate all the feedback and suggestions, so keep them coming. My goal with this podcast is to help you stay inspired, stay positive, stay focused, so you can have more joy, fulfillment, and excitement in all areas of your life. And it helps me stay more enthusiastic, passionate, and obsessed about the work that I do. And I love the work that I do. Okay, so here's what happened. Someone sent me a note last week and said, hey, what's with the opening statement? Why do you say Crazy Coach Maria? Do you know why I say that? Because normal, my friends, is so blasé and ordinary. It's average, it's mediocre, and I choose to be extraordinary. So I hope that makes sense to you. So I was like, I'm Crazy Coach Maria, and I'm extraordinary, and so are you. So let's get on to today's subject. Question for you. Have you ever struggled with learning something, or have you ever attended a training session where you were talked at most of the time by the presenter? Well, me too. And it was interesting. I said, well, I'm not getting this. So it just so happened that last week I was having a conversation with one of my coaching clients about certain job skills that he was not able to grasp. And that his leader was telling him, well, just, let someone else do it. And so I started asking questions, and the more questions I asked, I said, wait a minute here. This is a great subject to talk about. How do you learn? How do you learn? How do you internalize the material? And were you aware that there are different learning styles? Because let me tell you something, when you understand your learning style, you can actually thrive and learn faster. And you can also be candid with others on how you're able to better understand concepts, systems, workflow, and processes, so you can become more efficient. Great. Knowing your learning style. And by the way, if you have not assessed what your primary learning style is, here's what I suggest. After this podcast, not right this minute, but after this podcast, go on to Ms. or Mr. Google, however you call her or him, and search for learning style assessments. And there's a bunch of them out there, and you can get a quick assessment as to what your unique learning style is. So today I want to talk about 3 of the learning styles. And some say there's 3, there's 4, there's 7, but I'm just going to focus on the 3 learning styles that you may recognize and that you may find yourself in one of these. So the first one is the auditory style. That's the auditory style. You're a listener and you love to hear sounds. You may prefer audiobooks. You may prefer podcasts like these. And you can easily retain information from listening to something. Your preference is to listen to someone rather than read written instructions or rather reading notes. You find yourself reinforcing key concepts and ideas by repeating them out loud to yourself. You also have a great ability to speak up and verbally share your ideas. So with the auditory people, when you hear something out loud, you retain the information. So when you see people talking in the corner, talking to themselves, hey, don't think they're a little bit different. Just think they have a different learning style. So if you happen to be a coach, a leader, a trainer, anything such, it's important to get these listeners involved. Ask them to repeat key learning points. Use music, use videos with your auditory learners. And here are a few phrases that you might hear from audio learners or that you might share with them. So, sounds like you are wanting to whatever it is. Or you may hear, let's talk about it. You may hear, here I go with the here. Do you hear what I am saying? Or listen to what I am saying. It's clear as a bell to me, and I will be a sounding board for you. Those are all from the auditory style. Okay, great. So the next thing we have is a visual style. Oh yes, the visual style. Do you happen to love pictures, diagrams, and PowerPoint presentations? Or do you happen to love notes on the easel board? Do you like to see and read directions? Here, let me read this first. If so, you may lean towards the visual learning style. You may have heard the saying, oh, a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is absolutely spot on for the visual learner. And if you find yourself doodling in meetings or taking notes and making lists while you're in the meeting, you are probably a visual style learner. And again, if you're training, you're speaking, or you're a leader, use the whiteboard and have handouts and use presentations with your visual people. They have to see it. So here's a few phrases for visual learners. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Can you visualize that? Can you visualize that? I can imagine the home you want, because again, they're getting a picture in your mind. That picture looks good there. Let me envision what might happen. So again, those are all the visual cues, visual learners. So the third one that I want to share with you today is the kinesthetic or tactile learner style. And you learn by touching and doing. This is like the only way that I learn is I have to jump in and do it. You can explain it to me. You can show me on the board, but until I actually do it, I don't get it. I don't internalize it. That's just me. So the kinesthetic learners, they understand and remember things through physical movement. And then they're able to retain it even more. You're a hands-on learner who prefers to touch, to build, or to draw what you learn. So perhaps some engineers. And you tend to learn better when some type of physical activity is involved. You need to be active, take frequent breaks. You know why I know this one so well? Is because I am that way. You often speak with hands and gestures. Oh, hello, I'm looking in the mirror right now. Yes, that describes me. And you might have difficulty sitting still. Oh, you see those legs moving and shaking too. And also as a kinesthetic learner, you like to take things apart and put them back together. Now, I don't have that problem because once I take something apart, I can never get it back together. So you really find things to tinker with when you become bored. So kinesthetic learners may be very well coordinated and have good athletic ability. Oh yeah, that's me. I love the sports. So you can easily remember things that were done, but may have difficulty remembering what you saw or heard in the process. And also kinesthetic learners, they touch and you appreciate physically expressed forms of encouragement, like a pat on the back or perhaps a hug. Now we can't do that now, but you see some kinesthetic learners hugging themselves. So remember, here's a few phrases that kinesthetic learners might have come up with. So I don't grasp. Again, grasp is a physical touching thing. I like to keep in touch with my clients. Let me get a pulse on the market. Let me throw out an idea. Again, these are all physical things. So as leaders, coaches, educators, we constantly have to evaluate our audience so we can adjust accordingly. And it's incumbent upon us to be the role model to deliver for all audiences. And so here's something I learned this week. I know that some of you love to listen to podcasts, and I know some of you love to see me on YouTube. So I decided that I'm putting all going forward podcasts on my YouTube channel so you can see me for my visual learners. And then you're probably going to see how crazy I really am. Now, I hope that you got a little bit of value in this episode today. And I would love if you would share my podcast with your friends and family, because I believe that the more you know yourself, the better we can all serve one another. And November, my friends, is the month of thanks and appreciation and gratitude. So please remember to thank those that you love, that you appreciate, and that are helping you grow. So one quick announcement again. From now on, all my weekly podcasts will be available on my YouTube channel in living color. And you know I love the bold colors. So please do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Coaching with Maria. And one more note, thank you in advance. And I appreciate you subscribing to my Coaching with Maria YouTube channel. Any more comments or suggestions, please keep them coming in, maria@coachingwithmaria.com, or message me on Facebook, Coaching with Maria. Until next time, my friends, I want you to always stay focused, stay positive, and continue to have new ways of having fun. And no matter what you choose to be, do, or have, be passionate about it. Thanks for listening in, and I'll speak to you next week.